Howdy, folks. How we doing? Dave here. Tim, you weren't first. Adrian got you. Gotta be a little quicker on the draw there. What's up, Amanda, Ash, Andy, MJ? All right, streaming in here now. This is gonna be a really fun one, y'all. Dan Kurtz is a longtime member. Well, not that long. I guess we've only been around a couple months, but member of the crew here. That has been using been a user of Conversion.ai for the last few months and just doing a lot of really great stuff around content and SEO, and he's posted some really great guides in there. And so I invited him to join us here on a training today and just kind of break down a little bit more about what he's been posting in written format and some of the guides that he's created. We can walk through and have that. So I'm still waiting for Dan to join. Here we go. All right, always having a little issue here. What is the robot to your right? That's Jarvis. Our little buddy Jarvis. Oh, Dan, you are on here. All right, hold on here. Let me see if I can allow your webcam and microphone here. I just clicked allow webcam and mic. Does that work? All right, turn camera on, turn microphone on. Is that working, Dan?
You hear me?
Oh, we can hear you now.
Awesome.
What's up, man? You guys can hear Dan? Love it. Dan, you going to hold back on us today, or are you just going to give us the goods?
No, we're just going to dive right in. There's nothing being held back. I'm just going to go right through everything we got.
I love that. So, y'all, again, we're going to be talking about how to write long-form content that Google will love using AI. I have pleaded with Dan not to hold back on us and to just give us the goods. And real quick, a couple things. I'm going to put this in the chat here. We've got some upcoming long-form content trainings to use the new long-form editor. Tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central, will be the next one here. We kind of talked about how to actually use that long-form editor a little bit more in depth. And then you're going to have one every day next week at various times. So I'll put those in the Facebook group. We're going to create some demo events for you to register for those. But no, tomorrow at noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, will be our next training over how to use the long form editor and get all that taken care of, get you trained up on that. But with that, Dan, give us a bit of background on you. How did you get so good at SEO and kind of get into this world, and what do you do now?
Sure. So I kind of stepped into the online marketing world about 15 years ago and just kind of dove headfirst into SEO. I've been hired by multiple firms. I worked internally at Bing for a while on their search engine. I worked at Nielsen when they were doing the Facebook integration. I've got multiple people that I know that work at Google. So whenever something changes, I usually get a notification from them. So I've just been kind of, working inside of like really large companies and then also really small companies. So working with mom and pop shops, local businesses. For a while, I was marketing director of a national fitness franchise. This past like 2.5 years, I was a marketing liaison basically for SAP, helping them do SEO and things like that with their vendors and their partners. So I've kind of run the gamut of what works and what doesn't. And basically, this is the quickest, fastest way, to get content that ranks, that people are going to like, that people are going to want to share, and how to do it all using Jarvis and a couple of other bolt-ons we're going to use to make Jarvis into Iron Man.
I love that, dude. So sort of a transformer.
Yep.
Very cool. And so you've kind of seen like SEO over the years, and it's changed a lot, over the last 15 years. You were probably just stuffing keywords and creating PBNs back in the day.
It pretty much, except for the animal updates, panda, penguin, hummingbird. It's pretty much always been the same stuff. Like I've been doing pretty much the same thing since 2012. The only thing that's changed is the technology.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Very cool, man. All right, dude. Well, with that, let's kind of dive in. We'll have you kind of share, and then I'll kind of interrupt. And I'm excited to learn from you here as well, man. But let's kind of kick things off, and I'll kind of moderate. You guys can ask questions throughout, and we'll kind of stop a few times and answer some questions here.
Sounds good. So first question I have is, how do I screen share?
See, question. Do you not have a little view sharing option thing at the bottom?
Let me see. I got an eyeball and I got a microphone.
You don't have the thing next to that.
Nope.
Dude, we need to get you in as an admin then, I think.
Well, let me check and see if I can do it through the platform because it was
You need to
giving me
log into demio.com, I think.
right,
And
which I was, and I was sharing out the link and stuff, but
and
it
then you
did
need to click
not,
join room.
which I did,
Well,
and it was grayed out.
it was.
Yeah,
All
it
right,
got all
folks.
funky on me.
Hold on. Technical difficulties here. Talk amongst yourselves while we figure out how to get him some screen share. So are you inside Demio?
Yes.
Go log into Demio, and then you see this room or this event, right? Long form content that Google loves using AI.
Yep, I got join room.
And
Let's
click
try
join.
that.
Maybe exit out of this and then join room.
Let's find out.
And I've got you set up as a presenter.
Okay, that might be what happened.
But I just added it like 20 minutes ago, so maybe you
It might
logged in
not have
before that.
updated. Yeah. All right, let's try that. Hang on, I'm gonna bounce over. On connectivity. Cool. Room.
We lost him. Let's all pray he makes it back on here. It's looking good.
Awesome.
There we go.
Sweet.
All right. You got the screen share here now?
I do. There we go. Beautiful. So we're going to focus on this one because the other one's the chat I got with you, lovely people.
And I guess real quick, Dan, I mean, who is this for? Who should be paying attention to this? And is this just for SEO wizards, or can kind of the normal marketer, entrepreneur, do stuff like this for, any business?
Literally anybody can do this. I have a tendency to train people how to do stuff from a base grade level. This way it's super clear, super easy to go and do it. So everything we're going to go through today is just a visual walkthrough of some of the things that I've been posting inside of Conversion.ai for the past couple of weeks. This way you guys can see it, kind of use this as like your own SOP to kind of do SEO, do your market research, and do everything else to make that content that both Google and people are going to like.
Love it. And yeah, we'll share the recording of this. We'll probably put together a little guide around these steps here.
Yeah.
Is this something that people could do to sell this service to other companies?
Oh, absolutely. I've got clients that are coming on board asking for content writing, and now that we have the long form post editor, I'm charging them 10 cents a word.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so you could also add this to an agency or start an agency around this and kind of resell this to other people.
Absolutely.
Okay, I love it.
Awesome.
All right, so let's go ahead and dive in and break it down for us, man.
Yep. All right, cool. So we're going to start off not in Conversion AI because we're going to do a little bit of market research first. So we're using this tool called BuzzSumo. I'm logged into a free account because I can't show you guys the stuff I have in my paid account for my clients. But it pretty much works the same. So what we're going to do here is we're going to look for popular content, this middle box right here. And what I want to do is click search the web. And then what I can do is go over here and type in whatever it is that I'm looking for. So somebody throw a vertical or a niche in the chat. We're going to do this off the cuff on the fly.
Pregnancy.
All right. Let's see. Pregnancy, insurance, healthcare, tree cutting, keto. I don't know. Dave, you pick.
Let's do plumbing.
All right. Plumbing it is.
Plumbers, local plumbers.
All right, cool. So we'll start with the bigger niche first because this is going to search all of the internet. So yeah, let's start with just plumbing. Search. Now this is only going to go back so far because I'm using a freebie account. But the idea is it pulls in all of the different types of things that are being written and how they're being shared on social across different platforms. And then it's giving you an evergreen score, which lets you know how well engaged people are with the content. So the higher this number, the better. But you can see the engagement on Facebook, how many shares on Twitter, Pinterest, Reddit, how many backlinks to the site, everything right here. So we could go in and just pick one to start. So let's see. This one looks like it's a local company and it got a ton of shares, probably because they ran Facebook ads to it. But we can go ahead and you want to try this one, Dave? Or
yeah, let's do it.
Okay, cool. So we're going to pop this open. and take a look at what we're doing. Oh, they did a contest. Okay, so this is probably not for us. We're looking for actual content. So let's see. Da, da, da. That is a press release. Let's go take a look at plumbers in Barrow. Now, this is in the UK, which isn't a huge problem. I'll show you guys why in a second. So here's a page. Looks like a lead generation site, nothing major. But what we can do is, let's see, is there actually any content on here? Nope, no content. All right, let's try again. Let's see. And what I'm looking for here, guys, is just really simply something that has a decent amount of content that's ranking. I'm not looking for anything.
So you're looking for something that's like an actual like article that someone has written and posted that ended up being really good and people really liked.
Yeah, exactly. That's really all I'm looking for here. Just checking these numbers and stuff as we're going through. As you can see, most people are using Facebook to their advantage. Some people are using Twitter, not a whole lot on Pinterest. And then Reddit, depending on what it is. Like this was posted by a journalist, which is marked off over here. You can see that went crazy on Reddit when somebody posted it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So there are ways to go viral on Reddit. We're not going to cover that today, but it definitely is something you can do. Let's see. Can I filter back past 6 months? Let's try that. Because it was just giving me.
We could pick a different niche if you want to.
Yeah, we could do that too. Yeah. You know what? Let's do keto. I saw that pop up before. I know that's a hot button one for a lot of people, but let's just.
Well, so quick question in general, like what do you do with these like, kind of like boring local niches where it's like, I can't imagine like there's going to be some tree trimming article that like goes viral, but could still get a lot of business in Topeka, Kansas.
Right.
Like, how do you find those?
So those usually what I'll do is I'll go and search for the generic niche in Google. So like, for example, if we wanted to do using the plumbing example, go to Google and I would type in, let's see, probably something like boiler repair or a water heater repair would probably be more in line. Start with that. And of course, it'll pull up local results based on where you are. Home Depot, common repairs, water heater installation, home advisor. And I'm just looking for something that's not
Something's actually like a plumbing company.
Yeah, not necessarily localized. Probably, let's go with the Home Depot one. Let's see what they've got. Because what I'm doing with it is, let's see, they've got, they've got questions. Cool. So that'll help. But basically what you do is, so like, I'm just looking around trying to get content ideas. But if you are in a niche that's a little bit wider, like for example, this keto thing, if we go back to this, so that might be interesting. Let's see what else we got. Of course, this went viral because it's got a picture of a recipe on it. So you can see on Pinterest, it went crazy.
Interesting.
Yeah. So this just kind of gives you ideas of like what types of content do well on what platforms as well. So if you guys are looking as a content marketer, you can use this kind of to your advantage to find things out. This might be a good article from Health Insider. Let me try this one. So also inside of the other reason that I'm bringing up BuzzSumo is because there's a two-prong attack that you can do with it. You'll see up at the top, there's also YouTube and backlinks. But also on the side of each of these images, like so for this post right here, there's this little thing of view top sharers, and then you can also view backlinks. So if you want to do manual outreach, if you're good at doing manual outreach, you can reach out to the people who initially shared this particular post on social media when you're done and say, hey, I just wrote the definitive guide for 2021. Would you mind sharing this out to your audience? I think it would be valuable. They can share it out on social, and you can kind of replicate some of the same viral aspects we're talking about here. Same thing with the backlink thing. So you reach out to the webmaster. They're usually not that great at giving you backlinks, but some will, some won't. So what? Move on. If they don't, not a big deal. But what we're going to do is take this article and just take it and run right to Jarvis with it. So you can take this whole thing paste it into Jarvis, and then just go through. So what we're going to do is, like, let's say, let's take this section right here. Okay, so we're going to go to Jarvis, and Jarvis is going to tell me to log in again.
Now you've been doing this because I mean you just got access to the long form assistant, a couple days ago as well. So you've been
Yeah,
doing all of this up until, with just kind of the standard templates. And so maybe we'll use some of those. But
yeah,
now hopefully, this is getting easier with the long form assistant here.
big time. So what we're going to do here is, okay, 4 reasons why people over the age of 60 failed the keto diet. So I'm just going to take this just as it is, and we're going to throw that up here.
Somebody said, love this type of demo. Yeah, I agree. It's nice for me to just see your kind of unstructured thought process. It's not like some PowerPoint thing. It's like, let's just like do this together because a lot of times, you watch like a very curated, polished up deal, and then you get out into the real world and it's not quite as cookie cutter. And so it's like I love kind of seeing how you're thinking about, the different niches and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. So just popped in the title from the other article, gave Jarvis just a little sentence about we're trying to, write an article about keto diet for people over 60. I don't really put too much thought into this. I pretty much just let Jarvis auto generate and then figure out what we're looking for. So personally, I kind of like this one. Keto for seniors, 4 reasons why most people over the age of 60 fail. That's a good one. Generate ideas, same thing.
Hey, some people have asked, how do we kind of tell Jarvis about our keywords? We're going to add a little box for that, but I found, good success from just in that description at the very top, kind of just saying like, hey, like the keyword we want to focus on is keto,
Yep,
and him doing that there.
absolutely. And we'll get to the SEO portion of this here in a little bit. I just want to go through and kind of show you guys using the long form content editor how we're going to do this.
And by the
So,
way, some people have asked about how to get to the long form deal. That's part of a new plan that we just released, the Pro Unlimited plan. You can get it for $99
yep,
up until tomorrow. If you do have that, it'll be up. You'll click the content tab at the top of your screen. If you don't have that, Austin, if you're on here, maybe you could put the link in there to the unlimited plan. And you can go sign up for that right now and then go get access to the long form editor here.
absolutely. So I'm just going to go back to this, and you can actually see this article did really well. 312,000 views, 59 comments. So the reason we're using BuzzSumo is because it tells you which ones are doing well, and this is a very good indicator and marker that this is a good article that's going to get shared. So there's two different things within SEO. There's part of it where you have to write for the search engines, and then there's the part of it where you have to write for humans. And there's a mesh in the middle, and that's kind of where Jarvis comes in, is because he is that mesh between human editing and bot AI type writing. So if you can answer those questions and do everything in the correct way, and we'll get to, like I said, we'll get to the SEO portion in a minute. But the number one thing that a lot of people forget, especially when they're doing SEO, is that Google is not a search engine. Google is an advertising engine. The only reason that Google has a search engine is so they can show their ads. And the whole point of Google having those searches in there is to terminate that search, period. If you can answer the question and end the user search on your web page, they'll put you at the top, period. There's other factors involved, but we're not going to go through all that today. But if your content answers the question and it answers it completely, they'll reward you with top slots. And we'll show you how to do that here in a little bit. So I'm just going to go through and take these headers. I'm going to put them in here. We're going to add the double pound. And you could use multiple tools to do this. I'm just doing this manually for people who might not have some of the SEO tools or the other things that are out there.
£2 signs too. That's just a little trick that we've used to help Jarvis understand that something is a header. You don't necessarily have to do that, but it's a pretty good idea. If you have like a little subhead to add the little pound signs before it, that helps Jarvis recognize that.
Yep. And I'm just taking the main headlines on the page. You can go in and do the subheaders as well if you're going in and rewriting content. Like, for example, I'm just taking the big 1, 2, 3, and 4, but underneath there's like, these quote lines, or this is a subheader of that section. And the more headers and stuff that you put in there, because obviously Health Insider did their time to do their research for SEO. And I'm just kind of butchering it to death just for the sake of this example. But if you sit down and go through it and spend some time with it, you'll get everything that you're looking for out of it. Normally what I do is if I'm trying to go after like this exact article, I'll go and copy the exact code, like everything line by line, and throw it into Jarvis and then run a different methodology to have him rewrite the entire article for me. So it's different, but it's still the same thing, because then this article already has all the context built into it, and Jarvis knows how to contextually read the content that came before. So by doing that and going line by line, Jarvis is always up to date with what he's written, what the original author's written, and then finds a happy medium in between where it's not the original content, but it's also not quite mine. And then I'll go in and edit.
Got it.
If that makes sense.
Love that.
So let's see. And I'm just going to give Jarvis enough to start writing because it just seems like a good idea.
Yeah, you usually get better results if you kind of start off a sentence or start in a direction, rather than just kind of having it start in the middle of nowhere or starting after a sentence is fully ended. Even just writing like 1 or 2 words of a sentence can get him going better.
Just going to give him enough to get started. Hit the long button, compose. Cool. But without having to do too much thinking and maybe a sentence and a half worth of putting stuff in, Jarvis came up with a decent amount of content that actually makes sense, which I'm totally happy with that. I don't have to do any edits, maybe some punctuation stuff, but I like it. That's good enough for me. And then we would just go line by line doing the same thing. So ignoring your metabolism. It's easy to So, with the exception of a few things. Let's see. I don't like this one, so I'm going to use some of the other tools that pop up in here. The rephrase, we've got the grammar editor, and then we've got the make more creative. So I'm going to use make more creative in this instance because I want this to be a little bit, nope, not writing about that. No.
Yeah, one thing we're going to do with these tools here, sometimes they like lose context and they don't, they'll write about something else. So we're going to feed in more context so it kind of retains the topic as it rewrites as well. I think we'll get better results there.
Yeah. It shouldn't be too hard. Let's see. Come on, internet. Yeah, the double speak I was looking at the other day. Yeah, so Jarvis has been doing a couple things as he's learning. So putting in the same words twice in a row. But just hit refresh and see what happens. Oh, that's fine for now. And again, you can always add more content to it if it's not enough. So you can type in another couple, I think it's like 10 words or so, and then hit generate again, and Jarvis will append everything to this article. So you basically go through this whole process and set everything up. So let's say giving up to
That's so good. Somebody asks, is there a way to do a bullet or numbered list inside that section? Yeah, if you
Oh,
want Jarvis to do a bullet, and we're working on some of the formatting stuff, but
mhm.
if you just start writing bullet points, a lot of times he'll write more after you.
Yeah, definitely. And I haven't even, for the people who haven't seen it yet, I'm going to pop this open because we haven't even talked about it yet. All the tools that are in Conversion AI are now in the Power Editor. So you can go directly from whatever it is you want to do here, enter it here, hit generate, and then you can paste that directly into the article and tweak without having to go back and forth and back and forth. So for a lot of times, if I'm doing content from scratch, I'll do the intro paragraph, the outline, and then from there, I'll just let Jarvis fill it in. I don't even bother with PAS or AIDA because I'm just going to take it and tweak it inside the SEO program later. I'll figure out all of that because it's not really for copy and conversions. Like there is a point to in SEO where you can start doing some copywriting, but it's mainly like within like a CTA box or a subscription box or
Mm-hmm.
email opt-in or whatever. So it's more of the value of the information, and then if they like that information they can sign up, where it's not a straight sales conversation like you would have with like paid traffic or something like that. So because when you're doing SEO, you're kind of pulling in like the cold to warmish traffic, and then you're trying to get them into your world, bring them into your ecosystem, get them to sign up, and then you can nurture them with emails that Jarvis writes, or you're using any copywriting system, or but preferably Jarvis, to actually help you write those emails and make the value stack for that person to either purchase or become a member, whatever it is that you have on your back end.
Love it.
So things like that. And then let's see, being scared.
People have asked about, what kind of options, how do we do tone of voice here? I think there's kind of two ways in long format to do tone of voice. One would be in the description, write out, as you're describing the content, that first box, write out, what the tone should be. That's going to help kind of generate a intro paragraph in that tone. But additionally, Jarvis, as he reads your blog post and reads kind of the context up above it, he will just automatically adapt to the tone that you're using. So a lot of it is more natural than, kind of the other templates in that, it'll just adapt to what you're already talking about and how you're already saying it.
So we've got a base article that we're going to start with. So we've got everything in there. We've got bullet points, all that sort of stuff. Maybe we'll make an outro. So for this, let's see. I was thinking about using a tool over here on the side, but I'm just going to manually do it. So
Something you guys might get better results on as well, like above this paragraph he's writing here, if you're trying to wrap it up, maybe write the word conclusion. Even if you're taking that out later, it would kind of let Jarvis know, okay, like we're wrapping up. Gives him a little more instructions there.
cool. And then I would put, this is kind of the lead into a closer paragraph. And then you would put your closer down here for the content.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, just to kind of give it like, okay, here's our final thoughts and then conclusion, just to kind of wrap it all together, make it nice. And then I know a lot of people use either the problem agitate solution framework or AIDA to kind of help and wrap that all together. I think who was it that talked about? Was that Austin or was that I think it was Miles, I think, was talking about it when he was doing the original content writing template that's inside the conversion group. Yeah, so we would just take this, copy it, and then we're going to go into another program, which I have open over here, which is called Surfer. This program by itself is fantastic. This is what I used particularly for SEO stuff. And again, I've booted up a kind of a freebie account. I think they give you $1 for 7 days to try it out. But what we're going to do is I'm going to go in here and do keto for people over 60 as our keyword, because that's the same thing that we have in our headline, because that's what our topic was about. We're going to do desktop and then NLP. In this case, NLP does not mean neuro linguistic programming. It means natural language processing, which is how the AI figures out what the content's about. So that's going to go and it's going to do all of its market research. It's going to take a minute. And then what it's going to do is it's going to pop open a brand new editor. And we're going to take all the content that we just created in Jarvis. We're going to paste it into Surfer. And then Surfer's going to give us a letter or a number grade. And then we're just going to edit our content accordingly until our content is 100% optimized.
Okay, so just to recap, you've decided on a space or a keyword that you're kind of like writing around. In this case, keto is kind of the niche. You've gone to BuzzSumo, you found an article that's already doing really well and said, well, great, well, let's not reinvent the wheel. Let's draft off of that. Let me kind of write my own article that's, similar to this one here because it's probably going to also do really well. You come over to Jarvis, you write out an article that, looks good, that's, unique, original content, write that out, but it's still not necessarily SEO optimized yet. So then you come over and pop it into here, and here's where you're going to kind of optimize it's SEO, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So based on what we've popped in so far, just to give you guys, okay, so we popped everything in. It took the title out, which is fine. I'll put the title that we put in up here.
Dude, I've never seen this. We need this inside Conversion.ai.
That's what I put in the chat the other day. When you guys were going live, I was like, we need this because they have their own API. They just opened their API in October.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh. So
let me see if I can get that out this afternoon.
Cool.
Just kidding, folks. We're not going to be able to get it this afternoon, but this is really cool, and this looks a lot like our editor could be.
It is, but it's mainly geared for, of course, the SEO nerd crowd. So you just go through, and everything we had as a header, I'm just going to turn into a header. Nothing. We're not doing anything crazy yet. We're already at 40 out of 100, which is pretty decent to start with, considering we went from somebody else's content, writing our own, using Jarvis, and then now pasting it in here. And so far, we're doing okay. So basically, this whole window over here inside of Surfer tells you exactly what you need to do in order to increase your score and how to do it. So like, for example, we have 638 words. They're recommending between 2,900 to 3,500 for first page ranking. Paragraphs, they're recommending at least 10. I kind of make my paragraphs smaller than most people because most people that do content writing have larger block paragraphs. I prefer the smaller ones so it's easier for people to digest when they're reading. Headings, kind of like we talked about before. I only pulled 4 out of that article, but most people are using between 21 and 36.
So would you continue that? Like, is this article done, or you kind of just did part of it, because, for time's sake, you didn't want to do 15?
For time's sake, I wasn't going to go through and do 2,500 words.
So how many would you do, in reality?
So
would you follow this and get up to 2,900 words?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was actually doing this last night with a buddy of mine. So we had this window open, we had Jarvis open on my other monitor over here, and we were going back and forth and like, oh, we need more information about this. Type in a question to Jarvis, kind of lead Jarvis on and hit generate, and then we made an FAQ section at the bottom of the page, like all those things that were in there. So like, for example, for this particular topic, if I go in here and hit topics, it'll give you the FAQ specifically for this page. You go feed these one by one to Jarvis and just kind of rewrite the question as a statement. So the keto diet is safe for people over 60 because hit generate and Jarvis will give you a full answer. And now you've got an FAQ section inside of the article. That'll beef up this article by about 600 to 700 words without me having to do anything. So as you do stuff like that, it turns into.
You could also probably just paste that into the long form assistant and is the keto diet safe for over 60? Good question, comma, and then just like go, and it's like the question's kind of the header, and then there's a paragraph below it.
Yeah, exactly. So like if I do this and just do it as an example, the keto diet is safe for people over 60 because let Jarvis run with it.
Look at that. Look and see. Then it's basically what it's doing. It's following the pattern, right, guys? So he's looking up. You see, okay, there's a question: is keto safe for people over 60? Answer: then it rolls right into the next question. What should I eat on keto? And on any given day, it's already like filling out the Q&A for you.
Yeah, exactly. So he's following the Q&A section exactly how I wanted him to. So then you just take this, hop back over to Surfer, and then down here at the bottom, you can do frequently asked questions about keto for people over 60. Paste that in, and make that
Nice.
age 3, make this an age 2, and that's it.
So
Like,
why does changing the heading like style like jump the like ranking up, or the whatever the content score up so much?
because that's what Google uses as its placeholders to figure out what your topics are. So kind of like a table of contents in a book.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can label your table of contents appropriately with what each section covers, it makes it that much easier. Also, if you're trying to rank your website, if you're using like WordPress or something, get a table of contents plugin because it'll automatically take your headers and stick them into a box at the top like Wikipedia has. And that actually will help your ranking even more.
Okay. Yeah, people are asking, should you like wrap this into a FAQ schema?
Yeah,
So kind of like,
if you've got it, do it. Yeah. Yeah, if you know how to do FAQ schema, absolutely. Just go block by block, add each of the questions, do the same exact thing. I'm doing this with a couple different clients in a couple different niches, and we went and kind of used Jarvis to rewrite and make a masterpiece of content. We're talking about 22,500 words, and we used it for making a hyperlocal website. So it would take some variation of all the combinations of 22,500 words. And each time it would generate a specifically unique page using the same content we pulled out of Jarvis.
hmm.
So we had, I think we were able to deploy, 150 to 200 sites using that one template we built inside of Jarvis. It took a couple of days because that's a lot of content, but it worked.
Love it. Very
So,
cool. Okay. And so you're going through here and you trust, everything that Surfer's telling you here. It's like you would get it up to the word count. You'd get it up to at least 21 headings.
yeah,
You'd have, the paragraphs like you would, and then you would add in, the images, right?
absolutely. So, and the only reason that I trust this one is because out of all the SEO tools I've used, this is the only one that I've seen that makes an actionable difference. I've used multiple optimizations tools. I've used Pop, Page Optimizer Pro. I've used Rank Math. I've used Yoast. Yoast is terrible, by the way. If you have it, switch to Rank Math if you're on WordPress. But literally just take this, pop it in here, and then when it's done, take it, drop it into my WordPress site, hit the post button, and just let it go.
Love it. Love it. So how do we get this thing up to like 100? It's just a matter of adding in
Yeah.
those images and, more words and all that.
Yep, just check the boxes. And then the nice thing about it too is it'll give you frequently used terms that people are using inside of the article when they're talking about it. So if you need to talk about something like, let's talk about bone density for seniors when they're on keto. So bone density seniors on keto, take that, come over here into Jarvis, punch in something about watching your bone density if you're on a ketogenic diet over 60, and let Jarvis go to town. And then now you've got another section that takes care of that keyword. Because what it's doing here is this fraction and then the number next to it is we've used this word 3 times. Most articles are using it 6 to 11 times. So they're giving you the golden ratio of how many times you need to use certain phrases in order to rank.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Okay. So you get this all built up, and then what do you do from there? Are you done?
So you would take it and you can post it to WordPress. You can add your FAQ schema like people have talked about. Personally, what I like to do and what I do for most of my client sites is I'll go build out a syndication network. So what a syndication network is it connects to your blog. So if you're on WordPress, chances are you have an RSS feed. So like if I go to, I don't know, search engine journal, and if I could spell correctly, that would be excellent. So go to searchenginejournal.com, and this is a website with a bunch of stuff on it. But what I'm really looking for is /feed. And most websites have this if you have WordPress installed. So this feed here will actually pull in all of your blog posts in HTML format. So you can see like this is the title of the blog, here's where it links to, here's the actual title, blah, 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 here's who wrote it. Here's the information about the whatever blog post is in each one of these. Basically, this is just a machine way for you to be able to take this piece of content and distribute it everywhere. So you can use a service like If This Then That, if you folks are not aware of that. If This Then That is a fairly cheap program. I think it's like $2 a month or $10 a month or something like that. But basically what you do is you can hook up all of your social accounts. You can make Blogger accounts. You can make WordPress accounts, whatever. And you hook them up individually to your RSS feed. And what happens is in the back end of IFTTT is every time you make a new blog post, IFTTT will check your feed every 15 minutes or so. If it finds a new post, it'll take it and then share it out to all of the web properties that you've hooked up inside of here. So like your YouTube, you can send it to Evernote as a public document. You can tell it to make a tweet. You can tell it to post it to Instagram if there's an image involved, all of these things. And they all link back to your content. So once you set this up, you never have to touch it again. You just let it run, and then your content goes out to 30 or 40 other platforms on the web without you doing anything. And then there's companies out there where you can like purchase somebody, you can have somebody like go ahead and build it for you, because it does take time to put all these things together. They usually do it in about like 2 weeks or so. You can either look on Fiverr if you want to save a couple bucks, or you can go with mgyb.co, I think it is, or mygb.co. I'll find the link and I'll post it. I'll post it in the thing. But they do a pretty good job. It's like $75. They'll set the whole thing up for you. It takes them about 2 weeks. And then every time you go and make a blog post, it just gets blasted all over the internet without you having to lift a finger.
Got it. I love it.
So, and then the next question that a lot of people ask on this is, but what about duplicate content? And I want to dispel that right now. Duplicate content is a myth online. The only time duplicate content applies is if you have the same post written different ways on your own website. If duplicate content was a thing, press releases would not work.
So you're saying could you have the exact same article as just somebody else and it would do well?
So if you were to do that, if you cite the article at the bottom saying, hey, this was originally posted on this site, you wouldn't get any ranking benefit from it because you're referencing the original post it came from. News aggregators do this all the time. You'll see like New York Times writes an article and then the LA Times picks it up and they say this was originally posted on New York Times. They're trying to help feed New York Times to get to the top because they're all kind of the same media network.
Yeah.
But doing it this way with IFTTT, you're kind of setting up your own media network for your website. So you kind of have control over what gets posted, what doesn't get posted, and all of that stuff.
Interesting.
So you kind of make your own little media bubble. And that'll also help to have multiple rankings in the search engines when people go to look for your content, because you've got it on 10 or 20 different websites, but they all point to your site. So it's just a quick, inexpensive way to build backlinks without having to go buy garbage on Fiverr.
Yeah, totally. Okay, let's go ahead and stop for questions here. Well, do you have more steps in the process that you wanted to cover?
Not really. That's kind of.
I know you could probably talk for like 10 hours on all of it.
I could go forever. But yeah, just kind of want to give soup to nuts, kind of a really easy way of just going like we said, step 1, step 2, step 3, and then post. And if you want to, step 4 is optional.
Are you ever starting from scratch inside Conversion.ai, or are you pretty much always taking what's already proven to be working out there and then kind of making your own spin on that?
I will always try and find somebody else who has done it first on BuzzSumo. The only reason I do it that way is because I want to see market viability for something before I jump in. Doing keyword research, I saw somebody post in the comments earlier, doing keyword research is great, but the problem is a lot of those tools don't give accurate numbers. They also don't give accurate difficulty scores. If you're doing it this way, like we talked about, doing the BuzzSumo method, you also get the access to the people who shared it to make it go viral and the different websites that got the backlinks. So by sending an email to these people on social and these webmasters, now you've taken the same momentum from before. You've got that virality again because they're sharing it to their audience just like they shared the first one that we pulled. So like I would go and pull the list of all these guys and say, hey, we saw that you made this post about keto for people over 60. We just did the definitive guide for 2021 for people over 60. We would love it if you could share it with your audience. If you find it appeals to them, here's the link, and let them
Yep.
go do that. And then on the webmaster side with the backlinks, you do the same thing. You say, hey, I saw you linked to this article. It was originally listed here. We just updated the link and made it beefier with much more information for our clients. We also put in, an email opt-in box where they can get top tips to keep themselves in shape doing keto when they're over 60, and what supplements we recommend in addition to doing keto so that they don't wind up, fracturing something or winding up with a muscular tear or something like that from doing the wrong thing.
Yep.
And you do something like that as a value add. They go ahead and then now they switch all the links on their site to point to you instead of the previous article. So now you've swiped those backlinks. And in the process of doing the sharing with the top sharers, you've now swiped the viral traffic at the same time. So you've got the viral social aspect coming in, you've got backlinks coming in, and all you did was use Conversion.ai, BuzzSumo, and Surfer.
Love it. Love it. All right. Well, let's do some questions. What questions do you guys have for Dan about any of this? This is so good, Dan. Yeah, dude, I love it. I mean, I know marketing, but I've never been in the SEO game. It's always been more like paid ads, direct response,
Yeah,
email, it's always been that. So this is really great, honestly, for me to kind of learn about, how to do more long form, more blog posts and stuff like that.
definitely. And
Um,
that's always been kind of my thing is I love to kind of do things out of the box the way that a lot of marketers don't talk about. Like there's ways to generate traffic that we haven't even covered here today, but that's just one of them
yeah, yeah.
to go through. That's just a method within SEO. And the fun thing is you can skip the Surfer SEO step. You just go and write the content, write it as well as you can, and just use the BuzzSumo links. Go find the people to share it with and the virality, and just let that go. Because SEO is a waiting game. It's not even marketing. You're doing the opposite of marketing. You're waiting for Google to come along and give you permission to start getting traffic.
Interesting.
If you start with BuzzSumo and you do the keywords and the backlinks or the social sharers and the backlinks first, get good at your outreach, push that out, then you've already got content that's kind of showing up. It's already viral, and then you can go back later. Like I made it in the original post talking about this. You go back in later with Surfer SEO and kind of update it once you start already getting traffic and getting leads and getting sales. You do the SEO part later.
Yep. Yep. Totally. All right. A couple quick questions here. Why not pick an article with traffic from Ahrefs or other keyword tool?
You could, but again, I do like using Ahrefs. It's actually my default go-to tool for stuff. But in this case, I'm also looking at the with BuzzSumo, I'm looking at the virality aspect and the things that have gone kind of supernova as far as going in social, because getting those social signals off front, if you the person asking about Ahrefs, I'm assuming you know SEO. If you get the social signals first and then you start swiping the backlinks, you don't really have to do all that much SEO. But later on, you can go back in with Surfer and kind of polish just to kind
Yep.
of get it rolling.
When do you fix the grammar and sentences? Do you do that before you get into Surfer or inside Surfer?
You can do it before or after. I usually go and just kind of toss everything in Surfer, get it done, and then I'll give it a once over with either Grammarly or Hemingway.
Okay. People want to know, do you have your own SEO training or masterminds?
I do not as of yet. It is in process. And I had kind of alluded to it in the chat the other day. I'm in the process of putting together what I'm considering a boot camp. So everything from starting your business to selling it off, and just kind of running through that. And then
Let's partner on that, man. We'll create a Conversion AI one and how to,
absolutely.
do all
So
this. And would you guys want that? Would you guys want us to do more SEO trainings and unpack a lot more of this stuff in depth, kind of like soup to nuts on it? Yeah, it would be fun to do that with you, man.
definitely. And then the other one I'm doing, which I kind of alluded to in this Conversion AI group, is I'm going to go in probably in the next month or so, pick a completely random vertical that I've never worked in before with no experience, no know-how, no nothing, and use Jarvis, Surfer, and a few other tools to actually build a branded business.
That would
So,
be awesome.
so everything that I would do, the traffic hacks, the SEO stuff, the paid ads, the conversions, how to take out competitors and have them sell their business to you, and kind of do the acquisition thing and bring in their customers,
Yeah, yeah.
all that sort of stuff. I tend to think of marketing as more of a chess game. So we talk about it in terms of either chess, or I prefer using like the old school video game Doom. as kind of a method of like, okay, we're going to go dungeon running, go get our weapons, get all the power ups, enable God mode, and then we're just going to start taking people down.
That's totally how I think about business too. It's just a game. I'm just trying to get to the next level, and I'm trying to acquire different skills at this stage to take to the next
Exactly.
stage. And I need, like, if I'm going to do that, I need to like go get this, whatever first.
Absolutely.
Um, Dan, any tips for ranking higher for product reviews? For example, a software product. Should we list all the features offered, or would Google like answering other questions or FAQs that others ask around the product?
Yes. So if you go to do any Google search about any product, you type it in, you type in exactly what the product name is, you go into Google, and there will be a little box that says people also ask. And there's a list of 4 questions there. You can do pretty much any search and you'll see it pop up. You'll see
Just type in
people
the
also,
product name into Google,
yeah,
like whatever, like Ninja Blender.
yeah. And then you'll see somewhere on that page, people also ask, and there's 4 questions in a box.
Oh yeah, there we go.
So click the drop down on one of them and then close it.
Hold on here, I'll share my screen.
Yeah.
Okay, Ninja Blender. People also ask.
So now close it.
There's
And
more.
now you got 7. Now close it. Now you got 10. Now close it. See, it keeps giving you all the questions people are asking about that product. You can do just an FAQ page just on that one.
This is like Jarvis for questions people asked. It just keeps going.
Yeah.
All right, so you got all these, and now, what would where would you take it from here?
So you could use those product questions, throw them into Jarvis, and just have him answer the questions. Obviously, you're going to want to play with some of them once they come out. But
And would you do that all like in one big article, or would you create an article for each of these?
So I would take probably the top 5 to 7 questions usually.
Like this feels like it could be its own like article, but
Yeah,
do Ninja
exactly.
Blades get dull? Like that's not really an article.
Yeah, but you can do things like this, and then depending on how well you know the product and stuff, you pull those questions and have them on the FAQ tab for your product if you're selling that product. You do things like that. Again, somebody mentioned earlier, use like the FAQ schema. If you're using Shopify or WordPress, you can also do product schema. So you can put in like the name of the product, the value of the product, the reviews on the product, all that sort of stuff, which you can already pull from Amazon and just simply rewrite it because we have that Amazon tool as well inside Jarvis.
Yep,
I would
totally.
do that. So the more information you can give on a product page, the better. It doesn't have to be a full article, but enough information to give somebody an idea of what it's about. So like 700 to 800 words per article or per product is usually a good starting point. That's also a point I meant to make earlier. Bare minimum for content when you're trying to write content should be 1,500 words. 500 doesn't work anymore, and 1,000 is not good enough.
Really, 1,500 is like the base.
Yeah.
Back when I was a young sprite 8 years ago, it was just 500 words. That was just the thing. It's just you got to do 500 word deals for just ranking like local stuff at least.
Yeah,
But
it's completely changed. And then you can also with Surfer, they have a free plugin for Google. So it'll actually show you the word count for each of the articles that you're trying to outrank on the first page.
I love it.
So things like that.
Dan, everybody wants to buy your SEO training, so we should chat about
I'm gonna have
that.
to make it.
Yeah, we should chat about that and get it all done, start to finish here.
Yeah.
Cool guys. So we are gonna have a replay of this. Dan, anything else you want to say? Kind of any last tips or thoughts, maybe even particularly around writing stuff in Jarvis that you've kind of run into?
I haven't really run into too much. I've found if you feed Jarvis enough information on the front end, or you take an existing article, kind of like I talked about earlier, you take an existing article, take that, paste it in, and just kind of let Jarvis rewrite it because he already has the context because we've taken the context from somebody else. Like, hey, this is a really good article, but I think we can improve it. Feed it to Jarvis, and then he goes to work.
Yep.
So doing it like that will definitely help with your contextual stuff and keeping all of that going. That's the easiest way to do it. If you want to start from scratch, feel free. I prefer to go either, into BuzzSumo or go look and see what's showing up in Google News. That's another good one that I usually go to is like, okay, what's hot and trending right now? And can I ride that wave?
Yep. Totally. Awesome, man. Well, yeah, guys. So we'll have this replay up available in the Academy here later today. I'll chat with Dan about, putting together some more trainings here. A lot of you guys have been asking, how do we get, the pro account, and how do I get the unlimited data or the unlimited credits, and how do I get the long form editor? That's available in this pro unlimited plan that we just released the other day. That's going to be available until Friday at midnight, 11:59 p.m. Pacific. And then we're going to pull that down for a while. And so if you want that, if you're interested in unlimited credits, go grab that. It will not be here Saturday. Don't ask me about it. We're not going to do it because we want to, kind of cap it and see how everybody does on that plan. So I encourage you guys to join that here as well. And Dan, thank you so much, man. Dude, I know we only scratched the surface, and you and I have chatted privately about a bunch of other crazy stuff you're doing. Dude, all you guys are, it's like, I feel like this is SEO guru people on the internet. You never have real profile pictures. It's always some, kind of blurred out. And that's when I know hey, this is the guy that, is going and ranking on the internet here.
Yeah, well, that's the same thing as the reason I started doing that was because of switching everything up on my profile to start building out the courses, because I'm actually gamifying the courses.
Oh, nice.
So it's actually going to run through, and based on what you do in the course, it'll give you achievements and unlocks, and you'll get extra bonus videos inside the course depending on what path you take, all that stuff.
That's awesome. Very cool, man.
Yeah,
very cool.
So that'll be fun.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us here. Let us know, if you want us to keep doing these trains, tell Dan, thank you, because he just took time out of his day to do this for us, Dan. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining, man. This was awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah. And
all right.
I'll try and hop back in and answer everybody else's questions, once the replay is up.
Cool. Sounds good. All right. Thank you, Dan. Peace.
You got it,